God of God, light of light. You may not be familiar with that statement or that phrase. It comes from the second verse of O Come All Ye Faithful. And even if you've sang it several times before, you might go, well, what does that mean? Where does it come from? Well, several hundred years ago, a bunch of people got together and they formed these statements about who God is and the gospel, the good news about what God has done. And they did that in order to help people understand the truth about God, because there was a lot of confusion. There was these people who had heresies, these things that were untrue about God, saying, Jesus isn't God himself. He's some, lesser being or created by God to do this work. Or maybe that Jesus isn't fully man. And so they had these heresies, and so they formed these creeds to speak against them and to communicate truth so people could easily understand them. We say one often in our church called the Apostles' Creed. Anyhow, from the Nicene Creed, we get this line that is in O Come All Ye Faithful. O God of God, light of light. So what does it mean? Well, it's essentially saying that Jesus is God. He's the Son of God, and he is God himself. He is not some other being, but he's actually God himself. Now, in our verse today in the book of John, we find the Pharisees and teachers of the law going, Jesus, where does your authority come from? And Jesus is pointing to where he comes from God the Father. And in fact, he cites himself and God the Father as witnesses to the authority of his teaching. And he says, you guys don't know me because you don't know God the Father. If you knew God the Father, you would know me. And so what does that say for us today? Well, I think it challenges us about our version of faith in God and all that. I mean, often I hear people say, hey, it's okay to believe in whatever you want to believe. You can believe in Buddha or Allah or, whatever other faith or religion. They're all kind of the same, aren't they? And that statement kind of, might make us feel good or feel like, yeah, that's something I could get behind. But the reality is even Jesus himself doesn't agree with that. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and nobody comes to God. Nobody comes to the Father except through me. And so Jesus is exclusively God, the Son of God. And there's no way to access God except through Jesus. And so that truth today, I think, speaks to us as we think about our thoughts on God and how we see God. Is it aligned with how Jesus speaks about himself and about who God is?